Hello, and welcome to Connecting Jewish Grandparents, the Grand Plan podcast, the place we come together each week to look at how ancient Jewish wisdom, the Torah, helps grandparents with the most incredible modern challenge of being grandparents. I'm thrilled you're here. Please share this with other grandparents, other people, other loved ones who would benefit from our weekly conversations. Like it, review it, follow it so that each week you get an installment. All right. And since I'm speaking about installments, if you listened last week, you might have wondered why it was about Parsha Naso. Because that was the one, last week's podcast was before Shavuot. And if you live anywhere outside of Israel, you did not hear Parsha Naso. It didn't happen yet. It will happen this Shabbat. But for me, in Israel, it happened last Shabbat because Shavuot is only one day. So we read the reading for Shavuot, and then it was Shabbat, and we read Parsha Naso. But everybody outside of the land of Israel had 2 days of Shavuot, which means that on Shavuot, the first day they read for Shavuot, and on Shabbat Shavuot, they read the second day reading for Shavuot, which was still not Parsha Naso. I hope that that not very eloquent explanation explains why last week's podcast was for this coming week's parasha. But really, it was a mistake. It was a glitch. And it was a major realization for me. Something that, well, first I was embarrassed about, like, how did I not know? How could I forget? That's where you are. This is where I am. We're not in the same place. The expectations are different. The calendar is different. The schedule is different. But how did I forget where you are? Because I'm busy thinking about where I am. And I really wondered, like, what should I do about this? How embarrassing. And then I realized, wait, this is not a unique problem. I mean, that I forgot, maybe is. But this being out of sync, because you know where you are, but you don't know where the other people are, because you forget, because you're in your own head, or you're so focused on somebody else, you don't forget about a third party or a fourth party. What I'm saying is, families can feel this out of sync experience too. This is not a, wow, Sharona didn't look at the calendar. It's a, wow, this is a universal problem of people becoming out of sync. It's a fact, okay? We're not all at the same life stage. We all have different expectations, different families of origin, different parenting experiences, different Jewish experiences, different communication habits, different emotional needs. I could go on and on with this list because really nobody is the exact same. The ways that we can become out of sync are really exponentially larger than the ways that we can be completely in sync with somebody else. That unity, that consistency, we work towards it, but it does not happen naturally at all. But here is the really important piece to understand. Being out of sync does not mean being disconnected. My sending a recording the week early because I was thinking about Parsha Naso, but that's not where you were, does not disconnect us. It doesn't lessen our relationship. It is really the basis of the relationship because emotional attunement matters so much more then sameness, then homogeny, then looking in the mirror. Research in attachment theory consistently shows that healthy relationships are not built on constant harmony. If you imagine a married couple that just keep moving along together because they're the same without, I said a married couple, but it could be anybody, just sliding along together with no friction, nothing moving them. They're just sliding along effortlessly together. You don't really have the glue and the connection because attachment is built on repair, responsiveness, emotional attunement. Parents and children are actually out of sync much of, most of, almost all of the time. So what predicts secure attachment? It's not perfection. It can never be perfection after a certain age. Sure, a mom might be completely harmonized and in sync with her newborn. She carried it inside of her. It comes out. They're still perfectly in sync for some amount of time. But what they like to call the terrible twos is the moment, the time that the child really becomes out of sync and has the language to express their difference of opinions. Secure attachment in that time, and really always, it's not about perfection. It's about successful reconnection. And I'm talking about mom to child married couple because this is universally true. But we're here to talk about grandparenting and strong relationships, grandparent to grandchild. Saba, Safta, Nona, Papu, Grandma, Grandpa, Bubby, Zadie, whoever you are. The relationship that you are in as a grandparent are where you keep coming back. It's not about always being in line. It's about always returning. You go in your different spaces, you go out of sync, and then you check back in. And we'll talk about this more, but I know that if you are a long distance grandparent, you find this reassuring because you know this. You've experienced this in a very real way that your grandchildren that you don't see regularly, you feel out of sync with them. But then when you're together again and you turn to each other in that hug, then you know. You know that reconnecting value can be so much more than the in sync every day with them. That's what you do. It becomes less special when you're perfectly in sync. The research on family systems and intergenerational connectedness show that relationships deepen when older and younger generations feel curiosity towards one another instead of judgment. What I was describing before was more in line with your grandchildren that are lower elementary school and below. But think about older grandchildren. Maybe you have them, maybe you're imagining them. But the older that people get, the more solid their identity and their opinions become, which gives the opportunity to be more and more out of sync. There are ways that this manifests no matter what, and as they get older. But grandchildren might lead different religious life than yours, different than their parents as they get older. But their home is not going to be the same as your home, and that is out of sync. Communication styles differ. Wow, technology, politics differ, especially, I don't even have to say why, especially. Technology differs, the ability to know how to do things, schedules, rhythm of life, the possibility of being out of sync is enormous. But of all of those things that I named, if you tune in and you notice where you're out of sync and you ask questions about it, not judgmental questions. I'm always talking about joyful, intentional connections, wondering and asking in a respectful way, noticing where you're out of sync, being able to have a mindful conversation about differences in political or religious opinions, of how the technology works that you don't understand. We're not going to pretend that there's technology that you understand that your grandchildren don't. You know where that out of sync lies. But being able to talk about it, to approach it, to wonder, to converse, that is where you come back together, that you can be even more in sync when you know how they feel and how you feel, and where that aligns and where it separates. Because through that conversation, through that work that might feel like friction, that is where the bonding happens. There's strong research that shows that family rituals is the other place that we get back together when we're out of sync. Now, I feel like I could make endless videos about the power of family rituals. That is the glue of the Jewish community around the world, knowing that we are in line. Okay, not for the Torah portion this week. We are still one nation. We are one people. But what you read and what I read, or the Torah that we heard, was completely different. So if that ritual, the place we opened the Torah to, and the words that we read were different, then how are we possibly the same? You know where we're the same. The list could be, I mean, from the moment the Shabbat candles were lit, from the moment you were making the food from Shabbat, from the moment that all of it aligns so much. If we look more at where we are connected, at where our rituals and our moments align, that is where the bonding happens. And now I just named a bunch of Jewish ritual reasons. But what about the non-specifically Jewish rituals? The phone call of checking in each week, the favorite food, the favorite songs, the annual trips, the special ice cream parlor you go to. Those rituals, it doesn't matter religious observance. It's those places where you turn together, you connect, you see each other. Okay, so if we review back what I'm saying, okay, I just said it's in the shared moments that we come together when we're out of sync. That was number three. Number two was the curiosity, the conversation, the being able to acknowledge the differences and come closer in conversation around them. And the number one, that top option, although there's no specific order, is the emotional attunement. The effort of coming together when you're not the same is even more valuable. So it is the same Torah. It is the same people. It is the Jewish community around the world. Even if we don't all look the same, or all act the same, or all speak the same way. For Shavuot, I teach always. I currently teach in a community school, which really leans heavily towards non-religion. And for Shavuot, I had to teach them about Torah. And I really was thrilled to explain that this is a shared set of stories and rules and memories that no matter where you go in the Jewish world, you can open a beautiful ark, the Aron HaKodesh, and take out the same book, the Sefer Torah, and it will have the same stories and rules and memories. So even if we feel out of sync for all of the endless reasons, we're going to find a way to come together. We're going to prioritize connection over correction. Okay? It doesn't have to be fixed. It has to be approached with curiosity. Instead of saying, why do you? Help me understand. I noticed that. Tell me more about. That's the way of doing it. Approaching it with that calm curiosity, never judgment. As I said, we're talking about grandchildren, but this is true for anybody. With the grandchildren, though, it's really about the reoccurring touch points, that consistency, the times that we're turning in to each other, intentionally connecting through the phone, through a trip, through a food item, through a story, through a song, coming in together. And in becoming more synchronized or more aware, one of the important things is knowing that each identity is valuable and you are not going to abandon your status, personality, and persona as the incredible grandparent that you are by learning more about your grandchild and the incredible person they are. So you might become an expert in, I don't know, pickleball or Pokemon or whatever is interesting to them at this moment. But it doesn't mean you have to give up any part of yourself to become more in sync, more aware, and more connected to them. I can go back to that I shared the wrong Torah portion, but it wasn't wrong. Because some years, and this is one of them, we're going to be reading a different Torah portion for weeks to come. But even though we are not in the same cycle together, no one imagines that we're no longer one people. They're not doing the same thing in Israel as they are around the world, but it doesn't deunify us, disunify us. I'm not exactly sure of the word, but you know what I mean. This is true for the entire Jewish community and for every individual family as well. Love does not require perfect synchronization. It is strengthened by the times, the moments where we come apart to come together, the repair and reconstruction. Sometimes we come apart to be stronger when we come together, but the moments of being apart are valuable too. Before we go, if you're listening this week for, again, calendar things that were beyond what I realized, I didn't realize was Memorial Day weekend either. So some of the people who are in the course of becoming the grandparent that you want to be couldn't start yet. So we have one more week that if you were on the fence of, I don't know, it's a yes, do it now. This is really a sign from the heavens that now is the time for you to sign up. I don't know when this course will run again, the summer and then going into the Chagim. Now is the time to sign up, to commit yourself to this moment of becoming the grandparent you want to be. You have the potential and you have the tools, but you also have the gift of the Torah, of being able to look at our avot and our imaot, our matriarchs and our patriarchs, and what they teach us about grandparenting. So I really look into it. The link is in the show notes. 6 weeks, we're going to look at Abraham creating a vision. You will make a vision board. It's really fundamental to becoming the grandparent you want to be. We'll look at his wife the next week, Sarah, and what it is to create joyous legacy. Each week, we'll be looking at them and really looking in deep so that you can embody this in becoming the grandparent you want to be. It's a nice cohort. You connect with other Jewish grandparents. Now is the time. Look at the show notes, sign up. If you're in Israel, I hope you enjoy reading the next parasha and for Bahalotcha and for everybody around the world. Now, so doesn't matter that we're out of sync. We are still completely one